Once the United States joined World War II after Pearl Harbor on December 2nd, 1941, it impacted the ways of life for many people. And it caused and affected many things. First thing I would say it affected would be factories. We had just gotten over the Great Depression, so the employment rate was at an all-time high, and because of the war, it brought us full employment and more income. And because we needed more supplies, they would switch factories that would make clothing to make uniforms and parachutes, and other factories to make weapons instead of whatever they made. And because of that, it also allowed a lot more jobs to come in, so women started filling those roles and other minorities. And the war also caused new technology to be made and more industry, so it allowed for more jobs overall, which helped us. Next, I would say that we impacted women. Women were before just stay at home, kind of didn't do much of anything. They were more of housewives, but for the war they got to do more traditionally male jobs, which allowed them to learn to be more independent, and their opportunities kind of expanded. People saw them for more than just sitting at home, saw what they could do, and they were seen as more. Next thing that I would say was affected would be minorities. African Americans were still treated unfairly, and this caused a lot of protesting to happen. But because of that protesting, minorities also got to have jobs that they wouldn't, and they began prohibiting discrimination. And post-World War II, African Americans could join the Navy. And during 1940s, Mexicans immigrated, causing more competition for jobs, and Hispanics were more accepted than Native Americans or African Americans. But after the war and during the war, minorities seemed to be viewed differently after they saw that all they could accomplish and do. Next, I would say rationing was also really affected by people. People began having to ration food, gas, and other clothing. Some of the main ones were sugar, meat, and canned goods. All of that was being used and sent over to the troops, so they had to either wait until they got their stamp that said they could get it, or they would have to grow their own. A lot of people began growing gardens for their town, their people, their families, because they just didn't have enough, which also kind of helped bring everyone together as a group. Everyone had to sacrifice something, and people were carpooling together. And although these people had to sacrifice, in the end, it helped push for us as a nation to become more as one, and it also helped people fight for the many rights that they were going to have later on.